I'm Suzanne Sibilla. I'm the owner of Sibilla and Associates, which is the premier leadership and employee development company.
Overcome obstacles, reframe your reality, love life, and have growth goals. Change and shift your energy. Pivot.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Suzanne Sibilla, your host of Pivot Now, where we bring on interesting, exciting, and dynamic guests who will share with us their tips, tricks, and life and business hacks to help you pivot in your life. I am super excited to bring this guest on our show. She is absolutely amazing, and I know you're going to love her. Let me tell you a little bit about her. She is a functional nutritionist. So cool. I just love that. And she is also a psycho-spiritual practitioner. So amazing. So she helps women that feel overburdened and stressed out with food. And so she helps them to get to food freedom. In fact, she wrote a book about that. It's a #1 best-selling book called Food to Freedom, Food and Freedom. So welcome to our show, Sue Van Raes. Welcome. Woohoo! Let's go.
Oh my gosh. I am so glad to be here. And thank you for that very warm welcome.
Well, it's so great to have you on the show. I love it. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you pivoted in your life. That's what the show's about.
Yes. Well, I have a business that is called Boulder Nutrition, and it's originated here in Boulder, Colorado, where I live, and grown to be an online business that reaches many people in many different countries. I specialize in women's health. I'm a functional nutritionist, food psychology specialist, and psycho-spiritual practitioner. And I love being in this space of healing and reflection and just the inner journey that so many women take to heal their relationship with food and their body. But also I really see our relationship with food, very much a metaphor for our relationship with life. Many of us know the quote, how we do anything is how we do everything.
Yes.
And I really see that playing out in lots of different ways when we start to examine a deeper connection to ourselves and how we nourish ourselves. And then I also lead women's wellness and yoga retreats locally and internationally. So Colorado, Bali, and Costa Rica every year.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that. Bali and Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, that is such
that?
a joy. I bring women with me all around the world to kind of immerse into this way of being, this way of honoring ourselves, this way of turning into our embodied experience of how we're eating, of how we're showing up in our daily lives. And of course, getting in nature and getting connected to the rhythms of nature and all the things that people do on retreat to just take a pause from the day-to-day life and get some perspective. And it's such a passion for me.
I love it. Love it so much. So tell us, what has been the biggest obstacle that you faced in pivoting in your life or business?
Well, I can definitely go into both of those kind of different layers of my life. Interesting. I just had to do a big pivot, and I was thinking about you and the show coming up just a couple of weeks ago. I was getting ready to lead one of my retreats here in Colorado, the September retreat that's immersed in the fall leaves and hot springs and incredible food and just beautiful, astounding Colorado mountains. And just a few days before the retreat was about to go, my chef had a family emergency and had to completely leave the state to go be with family. And so I had a very full group of women coming from all over the country to be part of this retreat. And I was left with no chef. And it's very hard to find a chef at this time of year because a lot of women or catering companies and those types of businesses that offer food are also booked up with things like weddings and,
Oh, yeah.
the fall season
Yeah, I can imagine.
is so, in demand for good
Mhm.
food, and the food is so good at this time of year. So I was like really proud of myself, because in past eras, I might have gotten really stressed or been really off balance or not known how to, pivot as well as I did. But I gave myself the night to just relax before dealing with the phone calls and the reach outs that needed to happen to replace her. And what was so incredible is that the next morning I made a few phone calls and sent a few text messages, and I had the whole thing handled within a couple of hours.
Wow.
I was able to get a couple of meals catered from a well-known restaurant here in Boulder, where I have a friendship of many years with the owner. I decided to cook as well.
Oh,
And
wow. That's amazing.
in the food realm, I've done a lot of cooking over the years, but it has been a while since I've cooked for my own retreats. That used to be kind of in the beginning when things were really fresh and new and there wasn't as many participants. But anyway, so I did that, and I had a friend of mine who was already signed up to come and join me and kind of be a little bit of an extra set of hands. And so she was able to step in a little bit here and there when things needed to get served or brought out. And yeah, we handled the whole thing within less than 12 hours. I was good to go.
Wow. That's amazing.
It
That is
was,
a huge
it was
pivot.
quite a fun
That really
retreat.
is.
It was
Yeah.
amazing. And the funny part is that I actually kind of reignited my love for cooking, that I haven't been cooking professionally for people in a while. And the women were just raving about my food, which was incredible. And nobody missed the incredible chef that normally comes because they had never met her before. So I was just so relieved that I could make such a smooth transition. But that has come from so many different times in my life where I really had to pivot for bigger things and for more intense things, and where I really had to kind of like dig deeper and go into a little bit of my own grit, so to speak, to be able to fully make that transition. I was a single mom for over 20 years, so I had a lot on my plate running my own business and taking care of two kids that both needed a lot of different kinds of attention at different times and in different ways. And so pivoting really became my middle name in a sense during that era. Like what to do when kids are home with strep throat, or what to do when someone has an appendix surgery that was unplanned, and, things that you just can't prepare for officially in the way that you might set up your calendar or your life. And just being witness to how, when those challenging times arise, we have more capacity than we know. We have more ability to hold some of those harder moments than we even realize.
Yeah, and that's a lot too, especially as a single mom raising two kids. I mean, my mom was a single mom raising two of us, so, and I saw her challenges and her struggles, and yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. I mean, it's a lot. I'm married, and we have one son, and he's a teenager or adult now. I should say, he just turned 18, and it's a lot. So I can only imagine being as a single mom, raising two kids, running your own business. That's huge.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that? I mean, how do you manage the stress and the overwhelm, and yeah, how do you manage it all?
Well, my kids are grown and out of the house, so that has shifted.
That's huge, right?
A lot.
Yeah.
But what I really have learned to do is just to titrate, like little mini steps, little mini actions forward. And I think when we look at the bigger picture sometimes, or the metaphorical mountain ahead, it can seem really overwhelming. And for me, when I realized that I really just needed to look for what was the next right action, and sometimes it was crying in the bathroom, or other times it was, leaning into community or family for support, or it was getting really creative with my schedule or time. And it just allowed me to really instill that we don't always have to know the answers to bigger
yes.
questions,
Mm-hmm.
but that when we look at things, just one little tidbit at a time or next step at a time, it's so much more manageable for our nervous systems to hold what we're up to.
So true.
Without
So
that
true.
layer of overwhelm that can so quickly throw us out of balance and exacerbate our fight or flight response, which definitely is going to leave us with less logic, less creativity, and less intuition, right? When we're so stressed and in that fight or flight response. So over the years, I've really just practiced lots of different ways to bring myself into a more regulated and centered space so that I can wait for those moments of inner knowing or those moments of intuition that just sometimes feel like a miracle in the moment. They absolutely
this is
can
true.
feel like a miracle.
I love what you said too, because I teach that and talk with my clients, coaching clients about taking small actions. Because a lot of times they want to do all of these things all at once, right? They want to get their exercise routine in place, and then they want to eat well, and then they think about their sleep and their rest. And so they think about all these things all at once, and they're like, okay, I'll do all of this. It's like, oh, wait a second. Do it one thing at a time, right? And do small actions. You can just take one small action, like go for a walk for 30 minutes. And that is it. Just do that, right? And when you get really good at that, for 6 weeks, then add one more thing to it. Just don't pile it all on your plate, so to speak, right?
Exactly.
And I love that you talked about community and support, because I think that is super important as well. We have this community, a mastermind group that I'm actually launching this month. And it's all about community, because a lot of times we can feel so alone in the overwhelm, and we can feel so alone and just stressed out. And especially for us as women, we want to do all these things. And a lot of times we're perfectionists and we want to do all these things really well. And it can be so overwhelming, and we don't need to be perfectionists, right? It's just all about progress, not perfection. So I love that you talked about community and support as being so important. So I want to ask you, we have this part of our episode. It's called 3, 2, 1, Go. So give us 3 tips, 2 strategies, and 1 action item to pivot our lives forward.
Absolutely. I love that. It's such a great, acronym, I guess you could call it, for these ways in which we can show up and really make life feel more manageable. So yeah. I love these tips that I want to share. And I touched on some of them inherently in what I shared. The number one was to take the next right step, right? Just think of it as a step instead of the mountain. And I really think that alleviates a lot of our overwhelm. Number 2 for me would be to look for what is feeling the most alive or energizing, like to look for the life force in whatever it is I'm doing, so that I can almost, like, I like to use that as a barometer, really. Like, let's say there might be 3 or 4 choices to make. For me, I will look at which one lights me up the most, which one excites me the most, because I have a strong belief that when we allow ourselves to want what we want and to follow the energy of desire and of aliveness and of life force, then we can't really be led astray, because that is really our own divine connection to source right there, coming through as sensation, as feeling tone in the body. And then, of course, leaning in to those places where we do feel safe, where we do feel like we can ask for support, or even just to be seen. Like, sometimes I've learned that advice can sometimes come in ways that doesn't match up with what I need, because a lot of other people might not understand the full context of what's happening, right? So I remember doing this experiment where I asked 2 of my best friends for
Uh-huh.
advice on the same thing, and I received opposite advice. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and that doesn't happen
Uh-huh.
all the time, but it's a good reminder that when we lean in for support, we don't always need advice. We don't always need solutions, but sometimes we just need to be seen and held for
I love
what it is
that.
we're going
So
through.
true. So
And that
true.
can also put less pressure on the people that we're leaning in with,
Yes.
obviously,
Yes. Yeah.
just because that's a lot to ask for them to solve our problems for us. But oftentimes the brainstorming, the masterminding, and the community intention can really get us pretty far in the ways in which that we can continue on our path in a way that feels manageable. Oh, strategies. Strategies are, one of the strategies that I practice daily is to look for the wins that are already happening. To celebrate this, there's a word glimmer. We can use that word. We could use the wins. We could use for the things that are happening, whether they're big or small, that are bringing us back into the moment. And when we're under distress, it's very common and very ingrained in our physiology for us to look for problems. And
So true.
it's not a fault. It's actually the primal brain, like trying to protect us and look for any way that we might be in danger. And when we already have our stress response activated, that is heightened. So to train our minds to look for the good, to look for the glimmers, or to look for the wins, it helps us to start actually being able to feel like progress is happening, even if it's the tiniest of things, like a smile from someone at the grocery store, all the way to, a really big success that I've noticed, especially women. We tend to, every time we create a new level of success, maybe you've experienced this yourself, do you notice that you raise the bar so you barely get to celebrate the success that you already had?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like that can happen so quickly that we don't even realize that we've missed really acknowledging something that has happened that is a big win. And so I've been really just trying to pull out the wins and the glimmers and the successes that are right before me, big or small, to really train my brain to look for those and to celebrate those.
I love that. I talk to my clients a lot about this, about you need to celebrate the wins. You need to celebrate the successes, because you're so right about that. A lot of times we have this goal in mind, or we want to be at a certain place, or we want to become a certain person, right? And when we accomplish that, many times it's like, okay, on to the next, or we'll just say, oh yeah, that was great. And we really need to really celebrate it and look at, like you said, the wins. I also like looking at what are you grateful for, and have a gratitude journal and really write out what you're grateful for each and every day, because that helps to focus our brain and our mindset towards, like you said, focus on the good. And it really changes the energy. I love what you
Absolutely.
talked about. That's so
I think
cool.
it's like literally a frequency upgrade,
Yes.
when we get ourselves into that mind shift and into like also the physical body shifting along with the mind. And
Yes.
we can start to track, the sensations we're having, the feelings we're having, and what we're noticing popping up around us. We become so much more magnetic. We
Yep.
start to see the connections, see the opportunities, see all that's coming for us right before us, instead of missing it because we end up being too distracted or too busy focusing on what's not perfect. It's a really simple but very powerful and potent practice.
Yes, very much so. Love it. Love it. Love it. So give us one action item to pivot our lives forward.
For me, the biggest action item I can really offer here, and the one that is the strongest for me, is to trust the process. And I just have leaned into that so much in my life, and that we don't know what's coming. And it's really easy to forecast things that might be more problematic or we can get into our doomsday thinking very, very easily. Especially in the world today when things are, uncertain and there's a lot going on that can really kind of trigger deeper levels of stress. But when we are able to really begin to see the path unfold before us and know that because of what we're wanting being another authentic layer of our souls, really, that we wouldn't be wanting something if it wasn't for us.
Yes.
And so trusting the process of how life unfolds step by step, and maybe it's even better than we could have ever imagined it to be when we look back in hindsight, and things come that we could never have predicted. But our brains really like to get stuck in the how and to get stuck in the details and to overthink every little step. And in a sense, that's not really for us. What's for us is just showing up and being open to possibility and being willing to take the next step and trust the process.
I love this. I love it so much. I mean, it's so true. So it's about surrender, right? Surrendering and trusting, which is I find it to be very challenging to surrender, right? To knowing, I mean, I have a spiritual sense of, trusting in God. I trust in God, and I know that He has my best interest at heart, right? And so it doesn't matter what your spiritual emphasis is, but it's that trusting that for your higher good and for the higher best, and surrendering to that. And knowing that, as I love this quote that Tony Robbins always says, is life happens for you, not to you.
Absolutely.
Because we can think of like all these different, if you're experiencing different challenges or obstacles in your life, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is this is happening to me. Why is this happening to me, right? Instead of switching that and thinking of it, it's happening for you. I mean, a lot of times I look at my life, and I know with a lot of my guests that have been on the show, their biggest challenge, their biggest obstacle, their biggest struggle has actually been their biggest pivot to a life that they love.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that holds true for you as well.
Absolutely. And I think, a lot of what you said really lands. One thing is, I feel like all of these challenging moments are almost like a weight routine, right? They're giving us the ability to strengthen this muscle within ourselves. And that's why I believe that, for example, like a couple of weeks ago when I needed to make that pivot, it was so much more seamless than it would have been 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, because I've been practicing. And I was practicing trusting, and I was practicing leaning in, and I was practicing like what would be fun, like what could I cook that would be fun for me to contribute to this retreat. And it's such a gift to be able to back our way out, slow ourselves down, and take it one step at a time to create something that is an opportunity for growth. And I would like to say sometimes I can feel a little tired of opportunities for growth.
Yeah, this is true.
I know. It's like, I just want to say, like, I have had moments where I've been tired of opportunities for growth. I've had many, many of them.
Yeah.
But they really are, and they really are gifting us so much. And even just the ability to build resiliency and build self-trust with what we're capable of is something that is one of the most precious gifts we could have. So, and the other piece I wanted to mention is, I'm sure you and I agree on this since we've chatted a little bit about it so far, but life is our teacher.
Yes.
And life, when we look at it that way, when we look at life as our teacher, I don't know, right there, I just exhale without even realizing it. It just gives me some solace. And it just helps me to realize that these moments, these challenging moments are for me, these incredibly beautiful moments are for me. And it's all really part of the process of evolving as a human.
Yes, there you go. There you go. So do you have any freebies or gifts that you want to give to our audience? And do you have any upcoming retreats or?
Yes, I have
Yes,
some fun
tell
things
us
to
about
share.
it. Costa Rica, Bali, here we go, right?
Small. I'm going to start small and then I'll work my way up. So I have a freebie on my website that's called Make Peace with Your Plate. It's a PDF ebook that you can download. So you can find that at bouldernutrition.com. It's on, I think, almost every page, but for sure on the homepage. And then I recently created a free secret podcast that's called the Food Therapy Secret Podcast. And you can also subscribe to that under the free tab on my website, bouldernutrition.com. And just for listeners, Boulder is Boulder, like the town.
Oh, yeah.
What else do I have? Okay, I have a free class, a free workshop coming up in a couple of weeks. So October 15th, and it's called Savor. And that is also on the homepage of my website that you can find there. And that will be just an online masterclass type style workshop with lots of really great practices to bring you into the present moment through your senses, which is such a really beautiful way to experience life. And then lastly, my retreats. Yes. So my next retreat is February 7th to 14th in Costa Rica. And my international retreats are a week long. So it's 7 days, women's wellness, yoga, and nature. We're right near the beach and we are, just enjoying the blue zone. Actually, we're in one of the 5 blue zones there. So it's all about being outside, eating local food, walking on the beach, watching the sunsets, practicing yoga, really deepening into your own personal transformation and exploration. So that's a really great retreat. I've been leading that one for over 15 years.
Absolutely amazing.
And then my bigger Bali retreat, also happening in June of 2026, is absolutely magic, which really Bali is hard to disappoint.
Yes, yeah.
So also similar, a little more ceremonial, a little more cultural, and just a beautiful experience. So those are what's coming.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. That sounds so amazing. So fabulous.
Thank you. I'm so excited too.
Yeah. Any closing comments or tips or strategies?
Well, the thing that comes to mind the most for me is that all of these opportunities of pivoting can really give us a lot of good information to work with within ourselves. And because you and I are both in the coaching world and supporting world of helping others, I think that the things we go through actually really teach us ways that we can support others when they're going through hard things. And so every era of my life that's been challenging and that's been a place where I needed to dig deep has always come up in, later on in ways in which I could support other people. And it's really, really grown my compassion for myself in those sticky moments, but also my compassion to others when they're going through rough moments or hard patches or challenging times or when they need to pivot. So I really feel like we can alchemize these challenging times into offerings to support others. And that for me just feels like such a gift.
Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Sue. And thank you so much for all your tips and your strategies and action items, and love what you do. Totally love what you do. Thanks for being a guest on our show. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me, Suzanne. What a joy to be with you. And I really appreciate everything you've shared as well.
Thank you. And for you, our wonderful audience, we appreciate you as well. And I'll be doing a mastermind group coming up for the month of October. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and anxious and stressed out and you're looking for a community of other women that you can belong to, that you can pivot in your life, join me. Join me. And, tag me in this link, because we'll have a link to this episode as well, so that you can join the mastermind group. And I have an offer to you as well, where I have a strategy call, and we'll look at where you want to be in the next 3 months right now, because we have a couple of months left of 2025. So we'll look at that in a strategy call of where you want to go, where you are at now, and where you want to go. And we'll develop a whole blueprint or a roadmap for you. So connect with me. And I love that you're on the show, that you're watching our show. Continue to watch our show. We're here every Tuesday, 10 o'clock Pacific time, 1 o'clock Eastern time. Pivot to the life you love. Pivot now.
Change and shift your energy. Change and shift your energy. Pivot